This is the best kind of straddle strategy, breakout strategy, orb strategy indicator script for TradingView on the market. There's nothing that does the things that this does. There's some that touch this part or this part or this part, but there's no other indicator or system that does all of the things that this does. So to answer your question, it's completely customizable. If you want to trade London breakout and that's your jam, then program it to that. And that would mean you're kind of targeting the time before London opens, right? That's how London breakout works. It's always before. The people in America or the people trading the New York orb, which is now viral, right? Which I do want to say we were doing the orb before it got viral. But I digress. What they're doing is they're actually doing the actual candle of that open. So they're doing after the fact, right? Or let's say, hey, you work and you need to get to work. So you want to be targeting 6 a.m. I'm not going to dare say that every 6 a.m. is going to be perfect. No different than every 9 a.m. is not perfect, right? It's just not. It doesn't exist. But it does give you a great system. Like some people are using session open, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. I think those are really good. That's kind of the 6 FTC, 8 p.m. Sydney session is kind of awesome, especially for gold and oils, metals, but completely customizable. So you can decide if you want to view this on a 15-minute breakout entering on the 1 minute, you can set that up too. If you want to view this as a 5-minute system entering on the 1, you can, or just a 1 minute breakout entering on the 1, you can do that too. Obviously there's buffers included, there's contracts, like if you want to know exactly how much you want to risk, to say, hey, if I'm going to have my stop loss approximately 50%, it'll give you contracts and tick sizes. If you're going to have your stop loss on the other side of the range, it gives you contracts, because that's the hard part about futures too, is knowing how much to risk. And I can talk about this for hours, but that's completely customizable, is in short what it is. Why 12:30, if you don't mind me asking? Because remember, a lot of this is obviously, for London and for New York, people are targeting that momentum, that volume, right? But let's be honest, not every day is that volume or momentum positive for us. So if you go and automatically or manually test the 9:30 kind of breakout, especially on the smaller time frames, you're not going to get grand results, and or the ones you're going to get when it's really, really great, typically the time frame is too high for you to digest any kind of a pullback, so it's not a viable strategy. That's kind of how I feel about people trying to trade the 15-minute orb with the 1 mini. Most people's accounts can't hold that. I mean, even if you have a $300,000 account with $40,000 of equity, it's still not enough to hold probably 50 to 70% of the opening ranges. It's just not enough. So to answer why that time is because at 12:30, okay, so I'm going to not cherry pick. I'm going to go, please forgive the drawings. I'll remove those actually. Remove all drawings. And please forgive the boxes too. We're working on why they're popping all over the place. That I do not know. So this one is not particularly the one I was actually referencing. I think we've got some pictures of it in our Discord. But this here is 12:30, okay? At 9:30, a lot of volume comes to the market. It chops around. It typically swings up and or down, most time both. At 10:30, you've got all the ICT principles and the fair value gap, liquidity sweep, unicorn model, or I forget which one is which, But at that 10:30 portion-ish, you've got all those 9:30 traders who are getting ready to force their last trade on the day, all the way up until 11, right? How many traders do you know that say they trade from 9:30 to 11 and that's all they trade? Well, after 11, if you go check, a lot of days, there's a lot of great moves that happen. I don't personally like 11 because I think that still kind of falls into that ICT, swing one direction or another direction really hard. But starting at 11:30, you can choose the hourly mark. Think 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. I don't do 3, but 11, 12, 1, 2. You have to watch out for news, obviously. Be careful for that. But that's the hour, right? I personally don't do the hour in New York PM afternoons. If I'm present and in my office, I'm typically doing the 30-minute at 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. And what I find is you get a lot of days like this. And no, I'm not going to say that every day is that perfect, because that would be cap. But this is 11:30. You don't really break out, so you don't win or lose. This is 12:30. That's a holiday, so we're going to get past all that nonsense. I don't think this template is the one that I had that up on. You have chop days that barely hit a little bit of targets. That exists too, sadly. That's 9:30. That's a beautiful 9:30. Beautiful. I like 2-minute. I also go to the 5 quite often lately, because the 5 just kind of digests some of that noise. But here's your 12:30 to give you an idea. 12:30, that's a 4-hour trade. This is 2:30. That's a, I don't know, 5-6 hour trade. You would have got stopped out once, okay? Depending on if you have any ability to see the market. I mean, some of this you do have to digest it yourself, but you get this beautiful move up, this huge excursion down. I'm probably not looking for a continuation of this buy, but either way, going true to form, this does break out. So I would take one loss here, and then I would make that up times 3 with one gain here. So 2 trades, it took me about 30 minutes, depending on how much risk I have on that trade. I'm still up $2,000 by whatever amount of accounts I've got. A few thousand, basically. And some days are choppy. They're just kind of floating around. So I love it. And there's less manipulation, too. There's less drama at 12:30 and 2:30. 8 p.m. is great, too. There's no drama, but there's also no volume. Whereas in New York, there's volume. It's 9:30. That's 12:30. Kind of bounces around. It still stays within this range the entire time. So this one took some patience, but man, it dropped hard, right? It stayed within that range, never got above that 12:30 high. This is 2:30. Just to show you. That's all it is.